Crypto.com Arena is about to witness something special tonight, and the entire Lakers nation is holding its breath waiting for one critical piece of information. Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, your home for the most updated news, breaking rumors, and exclusive analysis about our beloved purple and gold. I'm bringing you urgent updates on a situation that could define our next stretch of games. And trust me when I say this, what happens in the next few hours will set the tone for how we approach the rest of this season. So stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's at stake and why tonight's matchup against Dallas carries weight far beyond just another regular season game. Let me set the stage for you. We're sitting pretty at the top of the Western Conference with a 13-4 record. That's not just good, that's elite. That's the kind of start that championship teams build their seasons on. We've been dominant at home. We've found ways to win close games. And most importantly, we've shown the kind of resilience and depth that makes other teams nervous when they see us on their schedule. But here's the thing about success in the NBA. Maintaining it requires constant attention to detail, constant adjustment, and most critically, having your key players healthy and available when you need them most. Tonight we're facing the Dallas Mavericks at 7 p.m. Pacific time right here at Crypto.com Arena. And this isn't just another game on the calendar. The Mavericks are struggling this season with a 5-14 record, coming off a tumultuous offseason that saw major roster changes and adjustments that clearly haven't clicked yet. On paper, this looks like a game we should win comfortably. But anyone who's watched basketball knows that struggling teams are dangerous, especially when they're facing a top team and desperately searching for that signature win to turn their season around. Dallas will come into our building with nothing to lose and everything to prove, which makes them exactly the kind of opponent you can't take lightly. But the real story, the narrative that's been dominating conversations among Lakers fans and media members all week, centers around our roster availability, and specifically around one player whose status has been uncertain since our last game against the Utah Jazz. This is where things get interesting, and this is why I need you to pay close attention to every word I'm about to say, because the implications stretch far beyond just tonight's game. Our front office made some significant moves this offseason, moves that were designed to address specific weaknesses and give us the depth necessary to compete for a champion. We brought in talented players who could contribute immediately, players who fit our system and our culture, players who understood what it means to wear the purple and gold. Among those acquisitions was a player who's been generating tremendous excitement among our fan base. A big man with elite physical tools, a player who can protect the rim, rebound at a high level, and provide that interior presence we've been searching for to complement Anthony Davis. Speaking of AD, and this is crucial context for understanding tonight's situation, Anthony Davis has been unavailable since October 29th, dealing with a left calf strain. Losing a player of Davis's caliber, our franchise cornerstone and defensive anchor, creates a massive void that's impossible to fill with any single player. But what it does do is elevate the importance of everyone else on the roster. It means our depth gets tested, our rotations get adjusted, and players who might have been in supporting roles suddenly find themselves thrust into more prominent positions with greater responsibility. Is where our off-season acquisitions become absolutely vital. We didn't just bring in bodies to fill roster spots. We brought in Marcus Smart, a defensive-minded guard with championship experience who understands what it takes to win at the highest level. We added Jake LaRavia, a versatile forward who can stretch the floor and provide energy off the bench. And most significantly for tonight's discussion, we acquired Ayton, a former #1 overall pick who's still in his prime years and brings exactly the kind of size, athleticism, and skill set that can anchor a defense and provide consistent production in the paint. Arrival generated immediate excitement because of what he represents for our roster construction. At 7 feet 1 inch with elite mobility for his size, he's the kind of modern big man who can switch on defense, protect the rim without fouling, finish around the basket efficiently, and even step out to knock down mid-range jumpers when the defense collapses. In the games he's played for us so far, we've seen flashes of exactly why our management targeted him, why they believed he could be a difference maker, and why having him healthy and available is so important to our championship aspiration. But here's where the concerns started creeping in. During our recent victory against the Utah Jazz, a game where we showed our depth and ability to win even without some key contributors, Ayton went down with what was immediately diagnosed as a right knee contusion. Now, for those unfamiliar with the medical terminology, a contusion is essentially a bruise. But when we're talking about professional athletes playing at the highest level, even something that sounds relatively minor can have significant implications depending on the severity and the player's pain tolerance. The immediate aftermath saw Ayton miss our following game against the LA Clippers, one of our biggest rivals, and a team we always want to beat regardless of circumstances. His absence was felt, not just in terms of production, but in terms of what he provides to our overall game plan, and how his presence affects our rotations and matchups. Without him, we had to adjust our defensive schemes. We had to find alternative ways to protect the paint. And we had to rely even more heavily on our perimeter players to carry the offensive load. That game against the Clippers became a test of our depth and resilience, and while the result is in the books, what mattered most for tonight was getting information about Ayton's status moving forward. Would this be a lingering issue that keeps him out for multiple games? Would we need to adjust our expectations for his availability over the next few weeks? Or would the medical staff be able to get him back on the court quickly, allowing us to return to full strength, or as close to full strength as possible given Ad's continued absence? This is where the breaking news comes in, and this is what every Lakers fan has been waiting to hear. According to the latest injury report released by the team, DeAndre Ayton has been upgraded from questionable to probable for tonight's game against the Mavericks. Let me repeat that, because it's the most important piece of information in this entire video. Ayton is probable for tonight. That means barring any setbacks in his pregame routine, barring any unexpected swelling or discomfort when he goes through his warm-ups, we're looking at having him back in the lineup tonight. This is massive news for multiple reasons. First and most obviously, it gives us back a legitimate starting caliber center who can match up against Dallas's front court and provide the kind of interior presence that makes everything else on the court easier for our perimeter players. Second, it shows that the injury wasn't as serious as it could have been, that the medical staff handled it appropriately by giving him one game to rest and recover, and that we're not looking at a prolonged absence that would have forced us to scramble for a solution. Third, and perhaps most importantly for the bigger picture, it demonstrates the kind of depth in roster management that championship teams need to navigate an 82-game season successfully. But let's not pretend everything is perfect with our injury situation, because context matters and you deserve the full picture. Marcus Smart is currently listed as questionable for tonight's game dealing with back spasm, which is one of those nagging issues that can be unpredictable in terms of availability. Back spasms can feel fine one moment and completely debilitating the next. So we'll have to wait and see whether Smart can go through his pregame routine and get cleared to play. His defensive intensity and veteran presence would certainly be valuable against a Dallas team that will be looking to push the pace and create chaos. Anthony Davis remains out with that left calf strain I mentioned earlier, and while there's optimism about his eventual return, we're still waiting for a concrete timeline on when he'll be back on the court. The medical staff is being appropriately cautious with our franchise player, not rushing him back before he's fully healed, understanding that we need him healthy for the long haul rather than risking further injury by bringing him back prematurely. On the Dallas side, they're dealing with their own injury concerns. Kyrie Irving is still recovering from his injury, which significantly impacts their offensive capabilities given his elite scoring and playmaking abilities. Dante Exum is sidelined, and Derek Lively too is managing a right foot injury that has limited his availability. These absences contribute to Dallas's struggles this season and explain at least partially why they're sitting at 5-14 despite having talent on their roster. Now let's talk about what tonight's game really means in the context of our season. We're not just playing for another win in the regular season standings. Although maintaining our position at the top of the Western Conference is certainly important, we're playing to solidify home court advantage for the playoffs, to build momentum and confidence, to continue developing chemistry with our new players, and to send a message to the rest of the league that the Lakers are legitimate contenders this year. With our 13-4 record, we've already exceeded many people's expectations for this point in the season. The national media spent the entire offseason questioning whether we had enough depth, whether our roster construction made sense, whether we could compete with the elite teams in the West. Well, we've answered those questions emphatically through the first month and a half of the season. We've shown we can win in different ways. We've demonstrated depth when injuries have tested us. And we've played with the kind of consistent intensity that championship teams display night after night. Tonight's game against Dallas represents an opportunity to extend our winning ways at home, to take care of business against a struggling opponent, and most importantly, to get Ayton back into game rhythm after missing that one game. The more time he spends on the court integrating into our system, learning our defensive rotations, building chemistry with our guards and wings, the more dangerous we become as a complete team. His development and comfort level within our schemes will be crucial come playoff time when every possession matters, and having multiple reliable options becomes essential. I want to emphasize something important about how we should view Ayton's return tonight. This isn't just about having another body to throw at Dallas's front court. This is about continuing to build the foundation of what we hope will be a championship-level defense. Ayton's rim protection allows our perimeter defenders to be more aggressive, knowing they have that safety valve behind them. His rebounding gives us more possessions and limits opponents' second-chance opportunities. His ability to set solid screens opens up driving lanes and shooting opportunities for our guards. All these elements work together to create the kind of complete team basketball that wins champions. The fact that he's been upgraded to probable rather than remaining questionable tells us that his knee responded well to treatment, that the swelling and discomfort have subsided to manageable levels, and that he feels confident in his ability to play at the level we need from him. The medical staff wouldn't clear him if there was significant risk of aggravating the injury or if his mobility was compromised to the point where he couldn't be effective on the court. Looking at tonight's matchup specifically, Dallas presents some interesting challenges despite their poor record. They still have talented players who can get hot and create problems if we're not locked in defensively. They'll be motivated playing against the top team in the conference, looking for any opportunity to gain confidence and momentum for their own season. This is exactly the type of game where having Ayton available becomes crucial, where his presence in the paint can deter drives, alter shots, and provide that defensive stability that prevents runs from getting out of control. The game tips off at 7 p.m. Pacific Time at Crypto.com Arena, and you can catch all the action live on Prime Video and Spectrum Sportsnet. For those of you who'll be at the arena tonight, make sure you bring that energy because our home court advantage has been real this season, and we need to keep that going. For those watching from home, get comfortable because this should be an entertaining game where we get to see our Lakers continue building toward championship contention. What do you think about Ayton's return tonight? Are you confident he'll be back to full strength, or do you think the team should be more cautious and give him additional rest? How important do you believe his presence is for our championship hopes this season? Drop all your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below, because I want to hear from every single member of Lakers Nation on this crucial development. If you want to stay on top of every injury update, every roster move, every breaking piece of news about our Lakers, make sure you're subscribed to Lakers News Fan Report with notifications turned on. I'm bringing you daily content with the kind of in-depth analysis and insider information you need to stay fully informed about your favorite team. Hit that like button if you found this breakdown valuable, and share this video with every Lakers fan you know, because we're building something special here, and I want everyone to be part of this community. Ayton is probable for tonight. We're sitting at 13-4, and the Lakers are rolling. Let's keep this momentum going. Let's take care of business against Dallas, and let's continue our march toward another championship. I'll see you in the next video with more breaking news and analysis. Go Lakers!